She knelt on the marble floor of his penthouse, rain-soaked mascara streaking down her face. His new fiancée stood behind him, diamond ring catching the chandelier light. "Please," she whispered. "My father needs the surgery. You promised." He smiled, cold, unfamiliar. "Promises are for people who matter. You're just the girl who built my empire and disappeared." Her portfolio sat on his desk. Her designs, her campaigns, all bearing his signature. 3 years of sacrifice. Her father dying in a county hospital, her name erased from everything she created. If you love stories like this, subscribe now. She stood slowly, legs shaking. Something inside her went silent, cold, final. But that wasn't how it started. 2 years earlier, Elena worked 16-hour days at a startup marketing firm. Mornings running campaigns, nights coding websites, weekends freelancing to cover her father's medical bills. Stage 4 kidney disease didn't come with payment plans. "Coffee's cold again, Elena." Her manager Marcus didn't look up from his phone. She'd made it 7 minutes ago, still steaming. "Make another. And those Johnson pitch slides? Redo them. Too creative. Clients want safe." She'd spent 40 hours on those slides, researched every competitor, built a strategy that could triple their revenue. Marcus would present them tomorrow, without her name. 3rd time this month. Elena met David at an industry mixer. Successful, charming. Founder of a boutique agency that represented Fortune 500 companies. He actually listened when she talked, actually asked questions. "Your ideas are wasted there," he said over wine. "Work with me. I need someone brilliant, someone hungry." She hesitated. "My father's sick, I can't afford risks." "No risk, I'll pay you double what Marcus does. Cover your father's insurance." "Elena, talent like yours shouldn't be serving coffee." She gave her 2 weeks' notice the next day. Marcus laughed. "You'll be back. Nobody leaves here and succeeds." David's office was everything she'd dreamed of. Glass walls, creative freedom, her own desk with her name on it. For 3 weeks, it felt like winning. Then the patterns started. Her campaign for a skincare brand went viral, 8 million impressions. David presented it to the board. "My strategy has always been authentic engagement," he told investors. Elena stood in the back of the room, invisible. "That was my concept," she said quietly after the meeting. David squeezed her shoulder. "We're a team. What's mine is yours, remember? Besides, clients respond better to my name. You understand?" She understood. She always understood. Her father's condition worsened. Dialysis 3 times a week now. The hospital bills stacked higher. David paid them without asking, generous, supportive. "Focus on work," he'd say. "I've got this." She focused, designed a rebrand for a tech giant, developed a social media strategy that increased engagement by 300%, wrote pitch decks that closed 6-figure deals. David's name appeared on every deliverable, her contributions listed as team support. "When do I get credit?" she asked 6 months in. "Credit doesn't pay bills, Elena. Results do. You're getting results. Your father's alive because of these results." The logic was flawless, cruel, true. David introduced her as his girlfriend at the company holiday party. She hadn't realized they were dating. Apparently everyone else had. "You two are perfect together," his business partner said. "She's so supportive." Supportive. That word followed her everywhere. Eleanor's childhood friend Maya called. "I saw the campaign you designed for David. Your style is all over it. Did he credit you?" "We're building something together. Credit doesn't matter." That's what he said about his last girlfriend, Rachel. She left with nothing, no portfolio, no references, nothing. Eleanor didn't sleep that night. She researched Rachel, found her on social media. Profile abandoned 3 years ago. Last post. "Starting over is harder than they tell you." She pushed the fear down. David wasn't like that. He loved her. He paid her father's medical bills. He'd promised her equity in the company once they stabilized revenue. She found the incorporation papers by accident, looking for a contract, his filing cabinet. The company structure listed David as sole owner. No provisions for equity distribution, no mention of her contributions. 3 years of promises, nothing in writing. "You went through my files?" David's voice was ice when she confronted him. "You said I'd have equity." "I said we'd discuss it when you're ready, when you've proven yourself. I've designed every major campaign for 18 months, under my direction, using my relationships, my reputation. Elena, you're talented, but you're not irreplaceable." The words sat in her chest like stones. Her father called that night. "How's work, honey? You sound tired." "It's good, Dad. Really good. We're close to getting you on the transplant list." She'd been saying that for a year, hoping it would become true if she repeated it enough. David proposed on a Wednesday. Public restaurant. Photographer he'd hired in advance. Ring that cost more than her annual salary. She said yes, because saying no meant losing everything. Her job, her father's insurance, the transplant surgery they'd finally scheduled. "I love you," David said, kissing her forehead. His phone buzzed. Client emergency. He left before dessert arrived. Eleanor sat alone at the table, engagement ring heavy on her finger, and realized she couldn't remember the last time he'd asked how she was. Her father died 3 weeks before the wedding. Kidney failure. Sudden, irreversible. Eleanor was in a pitch meeting. David's assistant told her after. "Sorry for your loss. David says take the rest of the day." She scattered her father's ashes alone. No ceremony. David had a client dinner. Important deal. Your dad would understand. He'd want you to be practical. Practical meant swallowing grief. Practical meant showing up to work the next day with red eyes and a smile. Practical meant pretending the man she was going to marry hadn't missed her father's funeral. The wedding was planned without her. David's mother controlled every detail. Venue, flowers, guest list, dress. "You just focus on being beautiful," she said, patting Elena's hand like she was a child. Elena opened her laptop late one night, created a folder, screenshot every email showing her original concepts, time-stamped every file she'd created, saved every draft where her ideas became David's presentations, evidence, insurance, protection. She didn't know yet what she was protecting herself from, but instinct whispered, "Document everything." David caught her working at 2 a.m. "What are you doing?" "Organizing files." He looked at her screen, looked at her. Something shifted in his expression. "Come to bed. You're working too hard." He made love to her gently, whispered promises about their future, fell asleep with his arm around her waist. Elena stared at the ceiling until dawn, feeling like she was drowning in a room full of air. The wedding was in 6 weeks. Invitations sent, venue booked, dress altered. Everything perfect except Elena, who'd stopped sleeping through the night. David's ex-girlfriend Rachel reached out on Instagram. "Can we talk? Coffee?" They met in a quiet cafe across town. Rachel looked older than her 28 years, tired in ways makeup couldn't hide. "He'll take everything," Rachel said without preamble. "Every idea, every connection, every piece of yourself. Then he'll marry you, and legally it becomes harder to fight. He loves me. He loves what you create. There's a difference. I gave him 3 years, built his entire digital presence. When I asked for credit, he said I was being ungrateful. When I threatened to leave, he reminded me about the money he'd loaned me for my mother's cancer treatment." Rachel's hands shook around her coffee cup. "I left with nothing. He made sure of it." Eleanor felt something crack inside her chest. "How?" "Prenup designed by his lawyers. Every clause favored him. I was young, desperate. I signed. If you're still listening, hit that subscribe button. This gets darker." Rachel slid a business card across the table. "My lawyer specializes in intellectual property theft. Not cheap. But if you have documentation, you have a case." Elena had documentation, months of it. The prenup arrived 2 weeks before the wedding. 47 pages. Legal terminology so dense she needed a dictionary. She read it 3 times. Every clause stripped her of rights, her work, her contributions, her future. If she divorced him, she'd leave with nothing. If they separated, any work created during the relationship belonged to him. If she tried to claim credit for campaigns, she'd be liable for breach of contract. "It's standard," David said when she asked questions. "Protects us both." It protected him. It buried her. She signed. What choice did she have? Her father's medical debts were still unpaid. David had been lying about covering them. She'd found the hospital collection notices hidden in his desk. He'd held them over her head without her even knowing, threatening her with debt while stealing her genius. Elena contacted Rachel's lawyer, Patricia Chen, 46, sharp as glass. "Intellectual property cases are winnable with evidence, but you need time, resources. Can you survive 6 months without his support?" "I can't survive 6 days." "Then you need to be strategic, document everything, build your case, wait for the right moment." The moment came during the rehearsal dinner. David stood to give a speech, thanked everyone, thanked his team, thanked his supportive fiancée, who inspired him to be better. The guests applauded. Eleanor smiled until her face ached. His business partner cornered her by the bar. "You know he's done this twice before, right? Found talented women, bled them dry, moved on. I'm not, you are." Rachel was brilliant. So was Jessica before her. Both left with nothing. He's good at this, finding hungry talent, making them dependent, discarding them when they ask for too much. Elena excused herself, locked herself in the bathroom, stared at her reflection. Her father was dead. Her work was stolen. Her future was a contract designed to erase her. She pulled out her phone, opened her email, attached every file she'd documented, every screenshot, every time-stamped proof, sent it to David's 3 biggest clients with one subject line: Regarding creative attribution. Her finger hovered over send. One click. Everything would explode. She didn't send it. Not yet. But she saved it as a draft. Ready. Waiting. The wedding was in 3 days. David found her in the bathroom. You okay? You've been in here 20 minutes. Just nervous. He kissed her forehead. Nothing to be nervous about. In 3 days you'll be mine forever. Forever. The words sounded like a prison sentence. Elena went home that night to her apartment, the one she'd kept despite David's protests. Opened her laptop, stared at the draft email. Her father's voice echoed in her memory. Don't let anyone make you small, honey. You're worth more than they'll ever see. She'd let David make her invisible. Let him erase her. Let him steal 3 years of her life because she was afraid and desperate and alone. Her finger moved to the send button. Hovered. Trembled. Not yet. She needed to be smarter. Needed to wait for the moment when he had the most to lose. The wedding was in 72 hours. She'd been counting down to her wedding day. Now she was counting down to something else entirely. Elena didn't show up to her wedding. She sent a single email instead. To David, to his clients, to every industry contact in her network. Subject: The Real Architect. Body: 3 years of evidence. Time-stamped files. Original concepts. Email trails showing her ideas becoming his presentations. Testimonies from Rachel and Jessica. A forensic breakdown of every campaign he'd claimed as his own. She attached one final document. The prenup he'd designed. Annotated with notes from Patricia showing every illegal clause. Every attempt to silence her. Every trap designed to erase her contributions. She hit send at 9:47 a.m. He was supposed to be at the altar at 10 gone. Her phone exploded with calls. David, his mother, his lawyers. She blocked them all, turned her phone off, sat in her empty apartment with a cup of coffee, and waited. Patricia called from a burner number. Their clients are pulling out, all 3. They're threatening legal action against David for fraud. This is better than I expected. Eleanor felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just exhausted relief. The media picked it up by evening. Marketing prodigy exposes systematic theft. Small story at first, then bigger as Rachel and Jessica went public. Then explosive as more women came forward. 5 total. All brilliant. All erased. All silent. Until Eleanor broke the pattern. David's company hemorrhaged clients. His board called emergency meetings. His investors demanded audits. Everything unraveled in 72 hours. He showed up at her apartment on day 4. She watched through the peephole as he knocked. Heard him say her name, heard the desperation. She didn't open the door. Elena, please, we can fix this. I'll give you credit, partnership, whatever you want. Just stop this. What I want, she said through the door, is for you to feel what I felt. Invisible. Powerless. Erased. I love you. You love what I create. There's a difference. She heard him slide down against the door. Heard him cry. She walked away to the bedroom and closed the door on the sound. Patricia filed the official lawsuit the next week. Civil court, intellectual property theft, fraud, breach of contract, damages requested, $3.2 million. Half of what David's company earned from her campaigns. The number was strategic, large enough to hurt, small enough to prove without years of litigation. David tried to settle. $500,000 and an NDA. Walk away quiet. Elena laughed until she couldn't breathe. See you in court. The trial took 6 months. Elena testified for 8 hours, showed evidence, walked the jury through every stolen idea, every erased contribution, every moment she'd been rendered invisible while building his empire. David's defense crumbled under evidence. His lawyers tried character assassination, called her bitter, scorned, vindictive. The jury saw through it. Verdict: in favor of plaintiff. Damages awarded, $2.8 million as court orders David's company to issue public corrections on all campaigns within 30 days, crediting Elena as lead creative and strategist. She didn't celebrate, just walked out of the courthouse into gray afternoon light and breathed. 3 months later, Eleanor opened her own agency. Small, selective. Every contract ironclad, every creator credited, every contribution documented and respected. Rachel joined her, then Jessica, then 2 others David had used. They built something real, something clean. No ghosts, no erasure. David's company declared bankruptcy within a year. Clients vanished, reputation destroyed. Turns out when you steal everything, you have nothing original left to offer. Elena saw him once. Coffee shop, 6 months after the verdict. He was thinner, older. He looked at her like she might speak. She didn't. Some people don't deserve your words. She finished her coffee, left a tip, walked out into sunshine. Later, at her office, Eleanor pinned her father's photo on her desk. I did it, Dad. Built something real. Put my name on it. Everything you believed I could do. Her intern knocked. Client meeting in 10. I'll be right there. Elena opened her laptop, her name at the top of the presentation, her concepts, her strategy, her company, her voice. Finally, undeniably, entirely hers. The work continued. The empire she'd built. This time she kept her name on every brick.